It's Edgecombe again, off the heel, rebound Watford, Edgecombe!
Right now, 10 rosters in this league are not just competing for a championship, they are building problems the rest of the NBA hasn't figured out how to solve yet.
Watch this action.
We just watched the most competitive season in a generation. A 64-win team that couldn't make the finals. A 62-win team that beat the defending champions in 7 games.
On the other side, will Toronto foul Ramsey?
A franchise that ended a 53-year drought in the most clutch playoff run in 30 years of track data. Multiple rosters, 50 wins, 60 wins. That didn't even reach the conference finals.
I was going to say, Brad, you get a Coro back. Allen cruises down the lane. He throws it.
This isn't a one-team era. It never was. This is the era of the super team, plural, and it is terrorizing the NBA in ways we've never seen before. Here's where every one of them stacks up.
It's around to come up with some
Long rebound secured by Hepburn.
Number 10, Philadelphia 76 ERS.
Great block by Dembona after there was initially good defense from Quinton. And another block!
Here are 4 names: Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and whatever version of Paul George this front office can put around them. Say that out loud. Now tell me you're not at least a little concerned.
End of the quarter.
The 76ers made the playoffs in 2025-26. They won a first-round series. And then the eventual champions swept them in 4 games and everyone moved on, wrote them off, filed them under Philly being Philly, and forgot about them by the time free agency opened. But here's what nobody was fully discussing: the moment that Boston to Philadelphia trade dropped.
And they got it. Maxey, the steal. Maxey!
The Celtics, a franchise that won a championship just 2 years ago, sent Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia. In return, they got Paul George and draft picks. That move was Boston stepping back from the super team conversation, at least for now, and it was Philadelphia's invitation back in. Because what does that room look like fully healthy? Embiid, who when he steps on the court at full strength is still arguably the most skilled big man this league has produced.
Look out. Oubre floats it. Edgecombe in traffic.
Maxey, 24 years old, 2 All-Star appearances already, a second option who can take over a fourth quarter without a single possession from Embiid. And Brown, 2 years removed from a Finals MVP, someone who has lived in the deepest pressure moments of the playoffs and delivered. Though.
South Boston!
Watch this action.
And if you know this team's history, you already felt it coming. The 76ers have been in this exact conversation before. Multiple times. They had Embiid and Simmons. They had Embiid and Harden, who, as you'll find out shortly, is currently terrorizing the Eastern Conference in a completely different city.
End of the quarter.
Each time something broke, a knee, a relationship, a trade demand, Philly has been on the edge of contention for nearly a decade and hasn't been able to close it. The reason they're on this list right now is not because of what they did in 2025-26. It's because of what this roster looks like the moment Brown walks through that locker room door.
A fabulous pass by Embiid.
Oubre with the denial.
He is not Harden. He doesn't need to be the first option. He thrives alongside stars. He defends. He finishes. He doesn't require the ball in his hands to change what a defense is doing. And Maxey playing next to him, rather than needing to be the primary engine, is a version of this team that has never actually existed.
Needed that bucket to drop. Good sign.
Collins spinning and...
The NBA doesn't wait for you to be ready. Philadelphia just got a lot more ready. And if this team stays healthy, a phrase every Sixers fan has heard more times than they can count, they're not number 10 on this list for long.
Very obviously. Oh, what a block by VJ Edgecombe!
Number 9, Minnesota Timberwolves.
big one. 94-89. We got a good one here at the Garden.
Everybody counted them out. 49 wins, 6th seed, playing a Nuggets team led by a multi-time MVP that had closed the regular season on a 13-game winning streak, including the first game of the playoffs. The math on that first-round matchup looked simple. Jokic, home court.
Shoe brand.
The Nuggets coming off one of their best regular season stretches in franchise history. Anthony Edwards didn't blink. Minnesota beat Denver in 6 games. Let that settle. They beat Nikola Jokic's team, a 54-win club, in the first round. And then they pushed San Antonio, the Western Conference champions, to 6 games in the second round.
Ooh, baby.
28.8 points per game for Edwards this season, 4.9 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1.4 steals, and that's Ant playing within a system on a normal night. You already know what he looks like when he decides to take over. You've seen it in the moments that make highlight reels look completely unprepared for what they're trying to capture. But here's what the stat sheet doesn't show you, and this is the part that should terrify every front office in the Western Conference.
It's unlike Murat Kogut. Great job that time by Rudy.
After Minnesota lost to San Antonio in the second round, ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported something that landed differently from most post-game coverage. Anthony Edwards wants upgrades. He's not satisfied. He said it publicly, without apology, and in this league, when your franchise player, a 25-year-old who is visibly getting better every single season, tells you the roster needs more, you find a way to give it to him, or you explain why you didn't.
Defenseless down there with Ant attacking with 2 hands. That is nasty.
Julius Randle is on this team. Jaden McDaniels is one of the most versatile two-way wings in basketball. Rudy Gobert has won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. None of those players are the reason the rest of the league watches Minnesota differently. The reason is Ant, and the fact that he's already this good, already this hungry, and already asking for more. That's the most terrifying sentence in this franchise's recent history.
Any three-pointer from Şengün is just found.
Number 8, Denver Nuggets.
I like that.
You never know, Coach, on this last day, these consolation games. I call them an appetizer for
3-time NBA Most Valuable Player, 2-time Finals MVP, a skill set so specific and so complete that the league spent years debating whether a center could be the best player in the world. And Nikola Jokic answered that question definitively, over multiple seasons, at the highest possible level.
On an NBA team with that kind of agility, that kind of length.
Then Denver lost in the first round of the 2026 playoffs. 54 wins in the regular season, the 3rd best record in the Western Conference, a 13-game win streak heading into the postseason, 13 wins in a row, including the first game against Minnesota, and the Timberwolves sent them home in 6 games.
the finale between the Nuggets and the Raptors. And Morel's first shot.
Here is what nobody wants to say directly. When Denver goes out early, the entire conversation immediately becomes, is Jokic still the best player in the world? And every single time that conversation starts, Jokic answers it decisively the following year. That is the cycle. It has repeated multiple times now, and this cycle, the early exit, the offseason doubt, the return with something to prove, should terrify you if you're watching from another team's bench.
His college career was into what it could be perhaps as a pro.
Because there is a version of this Denver team, under first-year head coach David Adelman, with better health, with better second-unit execution in the moments that determine those 6 games against Minnesota, that goes very deep into May. This roster went 54-28 without their championship-level coach. Michael Malone had been the architect of this entire run, and the Nuggets dismissed him in April 2025. A new system, a new voice, a transition year. They still won 54 games.
Deep shot clock. It's all Sears now against Thomas.
Think about what that means. Most organizations go backward when they change coaching staffs in the middle of a competitive window. Denver went 54-28 in a transition year, with no first-round draft picks and no offseason cap flexibility to work with. And their best player, the Joker, is 31 years old and somehow still improving in the individual categories that matter most.
When it came to driving it, being tough, making plays for other people.
In this league, you're either winning or you're a cautionary tale. Denver isn't either one right now. They're the quiet threat that nobody on this list wants to see in May, when everything is healthy and Adelman has had a full summer to install his system. They'll be back, probably angrier, probably more focused. And in a Western Conference this deep, probably more focused, is its own kind of terror.
That is a freight train coming down the lane.
Number 7, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mobley through trap to the basket.
Never does. Doesn't say.
How did this happen? A year ago, the Cleveland Cavaliers were one of the most exciting young rosters in the Eastern Conference. The core four of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, 52 regular season wins, building something from the ground up with pieces designed to fit together perfectly. The kind of team that gets called the future in every pregame analysis segment. And then they added James Harden.
Word just does his job.
Almost another steal.
Let me be very clear about what that means. James Harden is a former league MVP, a 3-time scoring champion, a player who at his peak was arguably the most unstoppable isolation scorer the game has ever produced. He came to Cleveland and averaged 20.6 points and 7.7 assists per game. At 36 years old,
Hit by a bulldozer or a Mack truck. Z leads it. Great pass.
The 2025-26 Cavaliers finished 52-30. They won 2 rounds, they reached the Eastern Conference Finals, and they got swept there by the eventual champions. But what they did to arrive at that point was genuinely remarkable. A 52-win regular season, a roster built on one of the strangest combinations in recent memory, navigating the postseason with a 36-year-old legend and a group of young stars who were already very good before he walked in the door.
Tired in reference to LeVert. Allen takes the short feed from Merrill.
The year before Harden arrived, Cleveland won 64 games. 64. That's the kind of regular season record that makes you assume a championship is coming. It didn't. They ran into the Boston Celtics and went out in the second round.
Blocked, though, by Jarrett Allen. Met him up top, and it produces it.
So the front office looked at what they had, decided the core four alone wasn't the answer in a playoff series, and made the kind of move most franchises don't have the nerve to make. They added a Hall of Fame-level playmaker mid-window, accepted that the regular season win total would dip, and bet on what that addition would do in May when a defense has to account for 5 different problems at once.
Word just does his job.
Almost another steal.
The second interrupt is Evan Mobley. He averaged 18.3 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks this season. He is 24 years old. In 2 or 3 seasons, Mobley could be the best two-way big man in the Eastern Conference. Legitimately.
Garland! Get it!
And the version of this team where Mobley is operating at his full ceiling, with Harden still orchestrating ball movement, and Mitchell still capable of 40-point playoff performances, is a team that nobody has a clean answer for.
Pass a lot. Rose on the break. Oh, what a pass! As Yokoro, Karis LeVert.
Mitchell is 28. Garland is 26. Mobley is 24. Harden is somehow still this good at 36. You don't solve this roster by playing harder. You need a specific game plan, and most teams don't have one. That is what terrorizing looks like when it isn't wrapped in a headline.
Tired in reference to LeVert. Allen takes the short feed from Merrill.
Number 6, Houston Rockets.
It's around to come up with some.
Long rebound secured by Hepburn.
Here is a number that should rearrange something in your brain. Kevin Durant is 37 years old. He averaged 26.0 points per game this season, on a team with 2 other All-Stars, in a system that wasn't designed around him. On nights when nothing was going right, he was still the best player on the floor more often than not. And when things were going right, he was almost impossible to guard.
At Ohio State as he knocks down a 3. Now, Ohio State's had some players.
The Rockets finished 52-30. 2 All-Stars, Durant and Alperen Sengun, who is 23 years old and averaged 20.4 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 6.2 assists. That last number is worth reading again. 6.2 assists per game from a center.
Some teams want 3-point guards.
Think about that.
Sengun is redefining what a modern big man looks like in real time. His ability to operate as a hub in the pick and roll, find cutters, create out of short rolls, and still be a legitimate scoring threat in the post makes him one of the most unique players in the league. He earned his second All-Star selection this year. He is still 23.
Teams really want, you know what I mean? You really want big shot right there by him, but it goes back to what you said.
Then there's Amen Thompson, 18.3 points, 7.8 rebounds, 5.3 assists, also 23, also ascending, also someone who looks categorically different in March than he did in October. Here's what makes Houston genuinely terrifying, beyond the stat line. They lost to the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round, a team carrying one of the most electric offensive duos in basketball. They got eliminated. And the argument for this roster as a future championship contender is almost entirely intact.
Well, Hepburn was at Wisconsin.
Because Durant will be elite until he isn't, and Sengun and Thompson are still climbing. The version of this team in 2027, with a full summer of additional development from its two 23-year-old stars and clarity on how to deploy Durant efficiently, could be the most dangerous roster in the Western Conference.
And Crawford has it for the Rockets on the drive strip.
Here's the pattern interrupt. And if you watched Houston the last few years, you already know this tension. General manager Raphael Stone traded Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks to acquire Kevin Durant. Green was averaging close to 24 points per game. He was 23 years old. Stone made a decision to win now rather than build toward tomorrow, and on the nights Durant's body allows him to operate at full capacity, that decision is obviously correct.
Shot good. Seth Lundy from deep. He has 8.
The basketball truth here is simple. Championships are the only currency that matters in this league. Durant has 2 of them, Sengun has 0, Thompson has 0. Houston is trying to solve that equation before the window Durant creates closes, and the fact that Durant is still playing at this level at 37 means the window stays open longer than anyone predicted when the trade happened.
Outside.
Number 5, Detroit Pistons.
In the first. Karis LeVert with a long 3 split.
The Detroit Pistons won 60 regular season games in 2025-26, the best record in the Eastern Conference, from a franchise that 3 years ago was rebuilding from 17 wins. If you told anyone sitting in that building on a 17-win night that this same group of players, with this same draft philosophy, this same front office, would be the top seed in the East inside 3 seasons, they would have thought you were being cruel.
Flashes it down from downtown.
Holy cow.
Here's Cunningham as 14.
Cade Cunningham averaged 23.9 points and 9.9 assists per game this season. Take a moment with that second number. 9.9 assists per game means you are among the elite distributors in this league. Not just a scorer who passes occasionally, but a true point guard who controls the entire offensive ecosystem, makes everyone around him better, and does all of it at 24 years old with the kind of calm that usually takes a decade to develop.
From the wing, his triple try splashes down.
Some credit.
Jalen Duren is 21. Ausar Thompson is 22. Ronald Holland was a rookie on a team that won 60 games. This roster is young in a way that most franchises spend entire decades hoping for and never quite assembling.
Karis cuts to the paint, stops in front, sends it, scores it.
Detroit lost in the second round to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had the best regular season record in the East, home court advantage through every round, and they still lost in 7 games to a team with a 36-year-old orchestrating the offense.
Look, Kesson.
Off the Duncan Robinson.
For most franchises, a second-round exit after 60 wins would generate panic, trades, coaching searches, open questions about whether the core is actually good enough. For Detroit, that loss might be the most valuable thing that happened to this team all year, because here's what 7 games against Cleveland taught every player on that roster.
And he's hit. Count that, baby, and a foul.
The difference between winning in November and winning in a Game 7 in May is not physical. It's about the moments when everything is on the line and you've never been there before. Cunningham has been there now. Duran has been there. Thompson has been there. Those experiences don't disappear. They become the foundation of what this team builds on next year.
Karis LeVert bursting out, and Karis had a really nice game the other night, and he's off to a...
You can have all the talent in the world. The NBA doesn't hand you anything. But the Pistons are stacking lived experience on top of elite talent, on top of extraordinary youth. And that combination, once it fully matures, is one of the scariest things in professional sports.
From the wing, his triple try splashes down.
Some credit.
Number 4, Los Angeles Lakers.
Close these out. It's got a little sloppy for the Lakers.
Luka Doncic averaged 33.5 points per game this season. He led the entire league in scoring, the highest points per game average by any player since peak James Harden in Houston. He added 8.3 assists and 7.7 rebounds. On a team that won 53 games in his first full year as a Laker, on a roster that needed time to figure out the fit, in a market that had no patience for the learning curve. LeBron James is still doing what LeBron James has always done. 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, 6.1 rebounds per game, at an age that defies everything we thought we understood about this game and this body, and how long it was possible to sustain this. If you watched the Lakers' 16-2 run in March, you saw exactly what this team looks like when everything is clicking. Luka orchestrating every offensive possession, LeBron operating as the connective tissue between every moving part, and Austin Reeves, who averaged 23.4 points per game over a 13-game stretch in March, functioning as a third option, who on any other roster would be the guy. They beat Houston in the first round. They got swept by Oklahoma City in the second. For a team with this much star power, that second round exit is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of the offseason conversation.
Kogi with the steal. Kogi's had some excellent defensive possessions. Thompson goes.
Matters for understanding how this roster came together. The Lakers traded Anthony Davis to Dallas to acquire Luka Doncic. They made a franchise-altering decision, gave up their most dominant two-way player, their defensive anchor, the man who carried them to a championship in 2020, because they believed Luka at 26 years old gave them a longer window and a higher ceiling.
Şengün drops it for Thompson. Turns to Eason.
53 wins and a playoff series win in year 1 suggests the answer is yes. A sweep by OKC's historic defense in round 2 suggests they're not there yet at the championship level.
That, by the way. No adjusting there from LeBron.
Here's what makes Los Angeles undeniably terrifying, regardless of how last season ended. Luka Doncic is 26 years old and entering the absolute prime of his career. Every elite scorer in NBA history found his mid-20s to be the most efficient, most controlled, most devastating version of himself.
To make an impact. He's figuring it out here in this third.
LeBron knows exactly how to maximize what a generational talent creates. He's watched it happen from both sides of it. And Reeves, as quietly as he's done it, has become the kind of clutch third option that championship teams are built around.
Everything is working.
One healthy playoff run, one opponent who isn't OKC's historic defense, one more season of chemistry locking in. That is the margin between this team and a finals appearance. And in a league where one bounce, one healthy player, one coaching adjustment can rewrite everything, that margin is nothing.
Kogi with the steal. Kogi's had some excellent defensive possessions. Thompson goes.
Number 3, New York Knicks.
What a way to end the second quarter as Karl Anthony Towns launches.
For the first time since 1973, the New York Knicks are NBA champions. Think about how long that drought lasted. 53 years, through the Larry Bird era, through the Jordan era, through the Kobe era, through the LeBron era. Through every version of the league that came and went, the Knicks watched from the outside.
That is grown man.
They came within one win in 1994. They were in the finals in 1999. And then nothing. For a generation. For parents who took their kids to games in the 1990s and watched those kids grow up, have their own kids, and bring them to a garden that still hadn't seen a ring. Jalen Brunson changed that.
Gone! Stuffs it right over him.
The 2026 NBA Finals was one of the most dramatic championship series in 30 years of tracked play-by-play data. Every single game within 5 points in the final 5 minutes. The Knicks won 4 of those games after trailing by double digits, a record in that 30-year span.
When you attack the basket like the Heat does.
In Game 4, they trailed by 29 points at halftime, 29, and they outscored San Antonio 55-25 in the final 21.5 minutes to win by 1. If you were watching that game and you walked away before halftime, you missed one of the most improbable finishes in finals history.
Almost traveled.
And then Brunson, in Game 5, with New York holding its breath, with 53 years of weight on every possession, dropped 45 points. Not a performance, a statement, a message to the entire league about what this team is. Brunson looking directly into the face of every moment that wanted to break him and refusing to blink. He was voted the unanimous Finals MVP, only the 4th player in history to win that award after being drafted in the 2nd round, joining Knicks legend Willis Reed, Dennis Johnson, and Nikola Jokic.
That is grown man.
New York finished 53-29. The Pistons had 60 wins. The Thunder had 64. By the raw numbers, the Knicks were not the most dominant team in the league. What they have is not about regular season dominance. It's about a specific kind of collective toughness that almost no team in this league can replicate.
Gone! Stuffs it right over him.
The 6-2 record in playoff games, where they trailed by double digits, is not just impressive, it's a statistical record in the 30-year era of tracked data. No team had done that. They went out and did it in one playoff run.
Nice pass, Clarkson, and he slams it down.
Great. Karl Anthony Towns averaged 20.1 points and 11.9 rebounds per game this season. OG Anunoby is one of the best individual defenders in the game. Mikal Bridges is the most consistent two-way wing in the Eastern Conference. And Josh Hart was the engine of every momentum shift, every loose ball, every 50-50 play that turned a series.
Almost traveled.
This is not a team built on one star carrying 4 role players. This is a team built on 5 guys who would all die for the possession, and one of them happens to be a Finals MVP.
What a way to end the second quarter as Karl Anthony Towns launches.
The Knicks terrorize because they do not die. You lead by 29 and they come back. You throw everything you have at them and they answer. That is what being on this list is about. Not just who has the most talent, but who the rest of the league is genuinely, viscerally afraid of when the stakes are at their highest.
That is grown man.
Number 2, Oklahoma City Thunder.
You're going to make that big purchase.
You would. I would.
In 2025-2026, they won 64 regular season games, the most wins in the Western Conference. One of the most dominant regular season performances this league has seen in the better part of a decade. Their point differential placed them among the all-time marks in the sport's history. Their defense was the most suffocating unit in the NBA.
OKC playing a totally different game.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averaged 31.1 points, 6.6 assists, 1.4 steals per game. He is 27 years old and has been the most complete two-way guard in this league for 2 consecutive seasons. The argument that he is the best player in the NBA right now is not a controversial one.
Some guy named Jokic comes to mind.
Yep. Another guy for us named Nurkic.
Chet Holmgren, in his first All-Star season, averaged 17.1 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks. Jalen Williams, locked in as one of the most complete two-way wings in basketball, averaged 17.1 points with the versatility to guard 1 through 4 on any given possession.
High floater. Boy, there you go. Left hand. Rattling the rim.
Isaiah Hartenstein, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace. This is a rotation, not a lineup. 13 players who can contribute in a playoff environment without the wheels coming off. And here's the most terrifying fact of everything I just told you.
Up and down, trying to showcase your talent.
In this quarter, just 2 of their last.
Every single one of their core players is under 27 years old, and every single one of them is locked into Oklahoma City through at least 2031. SGA, Williams, Holmgren, $750 plus $1 million in extensions signed in a single offseason. In a league where stars leave for bigger markets, bigger lights, bigger everything, Oklahoma City kept everyone. That is not an accident. That is a culture. And that culture is the most underrated piece of everything this organization has built. And this is the one that sets up number 1. The Thunder lost to San Antonio in 7 games in the Western Conference Finals. The most dominant team in the regular season, on their home floor in a Game 7, fell to a team that plays with an entirely different kind of energy.
And he threw it off the opponent to get the possession. That's a big play.
You're telling me Wemby lied.
Before that, they swept the Los Angeles Lakers, Luka Doncic and LeBron James, in 4 games in the second round. They beat a 53-win team with 2 of the biggest stars in the sport without breaking a sweat. And then they ran into a team that had the one player in the world capable of matching their level and raising it.
That's 10, T. And that's what you talk about, letting the game slip away.
The second interrupt is this. OKC's loss to San Antonio is not evidence that this dynasty is over. It is evidence that the dynasty has a rival. And when dynasties develop rivals, the competition between them becomes the defining storyline of an era.
The Jazz's own. If you're a big guy, that's what you're looking for.
The Thunder will be back. They are locked in, young, defended better than anyone, and coached by Mark Daigneault, who at this point in his career may be the most underrated coach in the league. The last thing any team in this league wants to hear is that OKC is coming into next season with something to prove. They are coming into next season with something to prove. Dynasties don't die naturally. Something breaks them. In OKC's case, something arrived, and that something is at number 1.
Nice job on a floater up top.
Kept it in bounds.
Number 1, San Antonio Spurs.
Layup is good. Ball poked away by Towns. Champagny comes.
Victor Wembanyama is 22 years old. Let that number actually land before you move past it. 22. Wembanyama, who averaged 25 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 3.1 blocks per game this season, is in his 3rd NBA season. He has not yet reached his prime. He has not yet fully maximized the offensive game that his physical tools and instincts make theoretically possible, and he just led his team to the NBA Finals.
Still plenty of time on the shot clock, and he banged. That banged in.
There is no player in the history of this league who has ever combined this size, this shot blocking, this shooting range, and this playmaking in a single body. Wembanyama at 7'4" can guard anyone on the floor, block shots from angles that shouldn't be reachable, step back from 27 feet and drain threes off the dribble, and make passes that most point guards can't see.
Comes up short. Brunson looks to push.
He can't believe he missed that.
He is not a project who showed flashes. He is a third-year player who just won the Western Conference. But here's what the Wembanyama conversation almost always leaves out. And this is the first pattern interrupt, the one that separates San Antonio from every other team on this list. This is not a one-player team.
One of those the other night. Brunson.
De'Aaron Fox averaged 18.6 points per game this season. He is 27 years old, in his prime, a former All-Star who was traded out of Sacramento precisely because that organization didn't believe they could win with him. San Antonio welcomed him, gave him a specific role, and watched him become the veteran floor general this young roster needed.
Lamp is good. Ball poked away by Towns. Champagny comes.
Stephon Castle averaged 16.7 points and 7.4 assists per game this season. Castle is 21 years old. He is entering his second year in the league. 7.4 assists per game from a 21-year-old is not normal development. That is a player already operating at a level most guards take years to reach.
Fox did not shoot well in game one.
And then there's Dylan Harper, drafted second overall in 2025, a rookie on a team that reached the Western Conference Finals and then the NBA Finals. You think about what it means to be 19, 20 years old, a rookie, playing in a Game 7 against the most dominant regular season team in a decade, in overtime, with everything on the line, and delivering. That experience does not leave a player. It becomes the foundation every subsequent season is built on, the one that defines what number one on this list actually means.
Comes up short. Brunson looks to push.
He can't believe he missed that.
The San Antonio Spurs beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games in the Western Conference Finals. The team with 64 wins, the defending champions, the roster with the best point differential in the league, the best defense in the league, SGA averaging 31 points per game, locked up through 2031.
One of those the other night. Brunson.
San Antonio beat them on the road in a Game 7, and then pushed the New York Knicks, who went on a historic run through the entire Eastern Conference, to 5 games in the finals, with every single game decided in the final minutes.
Lamp is good. Ball poked away by Towns. Champagny comes.
They lost. The Knicks are the champions, but how San Antonio lost, the closeness of every game, the fact that a rookie and a second-year player were competing at that level, none of that suggests a team that was lucky to be there. All of it suggests a team that has arrived ahead of schedule and is now only going to get better.
Off the bounce. Wembanyama goes right at Karl Anthony Towns.
The last time this league had a player this young, this multidimensional, this genuinely without comparison, the game talked about that player for 20 years. The last time a team this young went to the finals, it reshaped the competitive landscape of an entire era. Victor Wembanyama may be the answer to a question the league hasn't finished formulating yet.
He gets it back. Bank shot is good. Spurs up by 5.
Every other team on this list is terrorizing the NBA in the present tense. San Antonio is terrorizing it in the present, and for every season that comes after it. History doesn't remember the almost, but the future is already here, and it is wearing silver and black.
Led by 10 in the first quarter of Game 1. Towns quick catch and shoot.